Welcome back to the Intense Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Grout. I'm sitting in the Kangen Motorsports studio, and across from me is my co-host, Adam Nilsson, and on Zoom, I have the world-famous photographer, Dusty Nixon.
Again.
Here we go again.
Oh, not this guy.
Oh, really? That's the intro?
This guy?
Well, I'm just glad to be here with the world famous Voice of Time Attack and podcast host Adam Nielsen. So
that's how I feel every week.
I mean, the pleasure's all on this side of the table, really,
and this side of the table.
I mean, you're welcome. Frankly,
that
I could be doing.
You're welcome to us. You're welcome to the fans.
I could be doing literally anything else, and I choose to grace you with my presence.
Yes. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yep. That's why I do this podcast, is so I can see you.
Me. Well, I mean,
otherwise I'd have we'd never hang out.
That's probably true, actually. That's probably true. Because, I mean, we don't skate anymore.
I miss skating so much. Cars are expensive and stupid.
Cars are so expensive and so stupid.
I remember when I thought skating was expensive.
I remember when buying a $350 pair of skates twice a year was outrageous, Robbie.
Yep.
I lust for those days.
I was discussing with Robbie recently how, like, the biggest problem I had whenever I was like 15 years old was needing another set of $60 wheels for my BMX bike because the axles on my new frame were a different size than the ones on the old one.
Yep.
And that was a big deal.
Yep. The $60.
How am I going to afford this?
The $60 bearings in the skates, and you had to replace them every once in a while because you'd break them.
Yeah.
$60 bearings, that's outrageous.
I remember being so ecstatic about new wheel day because wheels were like $35. And I was like, gotta use them to the core, man. But new wheel day was the best day.
There's nothing faster than a new set of wheels.
There's nothing better than new wheel day. If you had new wheel day and new sock day on the same day, that's a Cloud 9 level you'll never achieve again.
I would always save my wheels for like special things, like if we were filming or like a competition.
Absolutely,
that's where you put the new wheels on. It's honestly just like cars because you
say
it's identical because the rubber or the urethane of the skate wheels deteriorate like the same way a race car wheel does.
In the words of Scott and Seth of track walking fame, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
That's not true. I always got new wheels for my skates.
That's true. I don't think you ever bought used ones. I think that's probably true.
I always had good wheels on my skates. Always.
You didn't have used ones, that's for sure.
No. In fact,
did you ever end up with like the totally wrong compound of wheels and then you couldn't go do your competition?
Yes, because my go-to was always 89A 60 millimeter skates or wheels. And the Eulogy was the best wheels. And then the second one was Rollerblades Generics.
Oh, Rollerblades Generics were the best, Robbie.
So
those were 88As. So those were a little softer. Which I was all about.
Because they have grip. They have grip in a skate park. And if you go above that, like to a 92, it's slippery.
But if you're doing a lot of street skating, they last a lot longer. It's like a 660 versus 615.
Yep.
Or like an A7 versus an R7.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
But like when I bought the my speed skates, I got them because Rollerblade watched my vanillas like fall apart during their marathon.
Yeah,
and they gave me a discount for 50% off of a pair of rollerblades.
Oh damn!
So I bought the top of the line carbon fiber rollerblade skates.
Okay,
and then the discount was for 50% off my entire order.
Ooh.
So I got a couple sets of wheels too.
Hell yeah, you did!
And it's the same compound that the hydrogen compound is what they call it.
Yeah.
For their speed skates. That's now the same compound they use on their aggressive skates. So if we ever skate again, I know exactly what wheels I'm getting. I've looked into this way more than I should have.
I need some new boots because mine don't fit my fat feet no more.
You've grown in the last 6 years?
My feet have gotten fatter. They're the same size. They're just fatter.
They're wider.
And you remember how like hardcore I was about getting a really tight-fitting skate where my foot didn't move at all?
Yep.
That doesn't work when your feet are just ever so fat. So a little bit,
Doesn't pay dividends after you hit 30.
No, so I got to get a new boot. I got to move up a shell size.
Dang it!
I have smalls. I need mediums.
Yep,
and a new liner. And I'm pretty sure that our chosen brand of skate is no longer a company.
They had a new skate come out not too long ago.
Did they?
The HR 2.5s.
Okay. Well, they're hard to find. I've looked.
There's some on. I think Roller Warehouse has some, and then eBay has some. But I think it's Roller Warehouse anyways. But
yeah, I'm going to have to buy a pair, which I don't want to do. But maybe
I'm clearly showing my hand as to how often I've looked into this and how much time I've spent on the Roller Warehouse website. That's going to go
fairly high on the list of things I'm going to be purchasing when my tax return comes in.
I approve of this.
Higher than some of the other things that are probably more important, but I don't care.
Nothing's more important.
Yeah.
Can you put a priority level on your happiness?
So far it's been low on the list.
It's been pretty fucking low.
Being an adult means I've pushed it way down low, and let's bring it back to.
It's about time to bring it back towards the middle.
I kind of did that, like that childlike, I'm going to put my happiness above all else when I bought that PlayStation 3 to bring me back to that nostalgia. Like, I'm going to play some video games.
Yeah.
That happiness level brought myself up a little bit.
Did it?
If I do that with skating and bring me back to, like, I'm 20. You know, like,
I'm fucking 20.
I'll feel happy again. That's the last time I think I was happy. Don't tell my wife I said that. Have you ever heard the story about I'm fucking 20? Dusty?
Robbie yells that every time we go to concerts.
No. Bars.
Well, okay, I'm sure you yell that at bars too, but you yell that at concert. Like every year at Grid Life, we'll be coming into the festival's grounds. You'll be, I'm fucking 20! Just like as loud as you can.
No, at the bar, anytime we would take shots, the whole group of us would just yell. You'd take the shot, and then we'd all yell, I'm fucking 20!
I'm sure that goes over really well with the bartender.
It gets a lot of looks. The best part was the guys I was doing it with were the guys I worked with on like at a shop floor during the summer. They were like well into their 30s. So, like a full beard, just like they're clearly not 20.
Shit, we didn't ID those guys.
Dude, you're fucking 40. Where were we?
I don't know. Should we do a quick opener?
Yes.
Short show, Robbie.
Yeah. As always, our opener is presented by Factor Fabrication. FactorFabrication.com. For all of your fabrication needs. If you need a table, if you need to be caged, if you need to be railed, Booney will hook you up. You can have, like, if you're like, I want this really obscure table to have, like, legs that come in at different angles and then they're, like, welded together, Max will hook you up with some sweet, perfect welds, like dimes all the way across. It'll be sweet. It'll be powder coated, whatever color you want. You can put whatever surface you want on it. Basically, if you're thinking of something in your head right now, like, man, that would be fucking sweet in my basement, Booney will hook you up. And use the code 10tenths. It won't get you nothing, but it'll make Booney roll his eyes and remind it where he was sent. Where
somebody's
you guys
like
were sent
on
from.
the store. Where do I put these codes in?
Yeah,
I can't even find it.
Code? I don't think there's. Can you order things on the website? No, you can't.
Yeah, you can. There's a store.
Yeah, but I think you got to call him.
Go to the store, Robbie. You went to custom fabrication all the way on the left there. Yeah, you can buy table.
Yeah, you can buy table legs.
Yeah,
right there.
See, boom. Select options.
All right, look at these.
Put in the code.
Steel Geo table legs. Just buy them.
So,
choose options. Look at that.
That's just colors, is all.
FactorFabrication.com.
Anyway, this week this gets filed under the why didn't somebody think of this sooner? So somebody makes these electric pumps, basically, that thread on the top of like your VP racing fuel cans.
I have one of those. I have two of those.
Everybody has. Every racer has one of these like 5-gallon fuel jugs, right, with the huge lid on it.
They're
like
6 gallons, but yes.
Are they 6?
Oh yeah.
With like
and I think technically they can't call them fuel jugs anymore because they don't meet any of the requirements for venting or safety or anything else. So they're chemical containers.
They specifically say on them you don't like you're not supposed to like take them to the gas station and bring them back.
Oh, really?
For like what you do with your lawnmower.
Yeah,
you're specifically not supposed to do that. It says it on there.
Whoops.
I got a similar jug to this as part of winning the class at the Optima event last year, and it was sponsored by a fuel company. And they corrected them whenever they called it a fuel jug and saying what I had won. They were like, that is a fluid container, sir. It is not a fuel jug.
All right, well,
got it.
So everyone knows what fluid container I'm talking about. But this company, and I feel kind of bad about not being able to remember who it was.
I also just saved the picture. I didn't actually save the Facebook page. So I didn't want my Facebook up.
It's sold on VG Motorsports Facebook page. I found this. This is a pretty old post because that's how I do things.
It's up to date then.
So this is the lid threads on just like just like the normal one, but then there's an electric pump on top of it. And so you don't have to pick the fucking things up and spill fuel all over the place. You just grab the nozzle, stick it in the gas tank, hit the start button.
That's pretty slick. And
How brilliant is that?
And it's not very big at all.
$80 plus shipping and handling.
That's very reasonable.
I don't know how fast it is. Like,
Not.
this probably won't work in Robbie's endurance racing lifestyle, but
I'm pretty sure that's not allowed either.
but for us time attackers, this seems totally reasonable.
Or any track dayer.
Right.
Yeah.
Drag racer, circle track
Yeah.
racer. This.
Anyone that doesn't want to lift
I mean,
things-
seriously, how many times have you spilled fuel all over?
How many
the
times have I
ground?
filled the car with one of these? Yeah, that's how many times.
It's an equal number.
The amount of how much I spilled is what changes.
Right. I'm sure Dusty feels that.
Yeah, so we actually use just like the little lawnmower style ones because our whole there's a litany of reasons for it, but yeah, they're a gigantic pain, even worse than those are. So,
Oh yeah, when I fill my lawnmower, I need to probably get at least another extra half gallon because that's just everywhere.
I would have to ask my lawnmower guy what he uses to fill his lawnmower. I'm not sure how he does it.
Wow.
I don't do it.
Not
though.
only do I mow my own lawn, I spent an entire Saturday doing lawnmower maintenance the other day.
It would literally cost me more to fix my lawnmower than it cost me in a year to pay this guy to mow my lawn, Robbie. It's not worth it. It cost me $12 to $15 a week.
It takes me 2.5 hours to mow my lawn.
Yeah,
It cost me
well,
$12 to $15.
Let me
in
play
gasoline.
My Heart Bleeds for You on the world's tiniest violin, Robbie.
Feel bad for me as I listen to podcasts and soak up the sun while I look at the
On
water.
your estate.
As I watch the water just lap up against the shoreline.
Was that a turtle? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was a gigantic freaking snapping turtle mating with another gigantic
so
flipping
cool,
snap.
Robbie.
It's not cool.
It's so cool.
No. Snapping turtles are not cool.
They're so cool.
The coolest thing I saw was that there was a dead carp on the side of the bank the other day.
Dead fish are not cool,
and
Robbie. They
it
smell
was
bad.
so big. I couldn't believe how big it was.
Yeah. Carp can get really big.
Real big.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had carp, let alone big ones.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of water out there for them to hide in.
It's not that much water.
I mean,
It's deep.
it's listed as a lake on Google, right?
That's
When you zoom in on it-
No, it's just labels.
I mean, it's hard to see it around the lighthouse, but when you zoom in on it, there's a name. There's a lake name.
It's Walnut Cove.
Oh, I wasn't going to give it out, but
It's a pond.
so just go ahead and do a Google search for that, everyone.
It's on white pages.
but yeah, brilliant.
That is
frankly.
a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's in a nice little.
Compact deal. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like big and bulky and obnoxious. It looks like it would work really, really well.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. And $80 is a totally reasonable price. I'm curious what the battery life is, or like what the is it a battery? Or do I have to
It
plug
says
it in?
that it says these are battery powered.
Okay, I'd be curious how
That's all
long
it
that
says. They have
lasts.
auto and manual stop functionalities. You can get either.
Oh, good. So I can make sure that I spill regardless.
Right. So you get the manual one, so you're for sure to spill no matter what. But
Yeah.
somehow they have an automatic stop too.
I think when it's raining and you can see like the rainbow next to your car of all the gasoline that you spilled, I think that's just part of the experience. That's always embarrassing. Like when it's raining out and you're parked in the paddock and everyone like walks past and like you can see that and like
But at like a really busy event, you don't know who it came from.
true. The one the event I'm thinking of is like very obviously like look at all that fuel he
Well, yeah,
just
it's because
spilled.
you find the farthest place to park away from everybody.
Yeah, but it's better over there.
is it though?
Yes.
Nobody pees on your trailer over there.
Exactly.
Do they, Robbie?
You know how many times people have peed on my trailer when I was by myself? 0.
Yeah, nobody
That you know
nobody
of,
peed on
Robbie.
If I don't know about it, I'm fine with that. It's when I know about it that it bothers me.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody peed on our stuff to our knowledge at Topeka last year.
Exactly. It was great. Quiet.
Does that sort of stuff happen at Optima events?
Absolutely not.
Or WRL
If
for the
there's
record.
if there's anybody still at the track past like 5:30 at an Optima event, it's because their stuff is broken out into.
They're trying to fix it.
We stayed at the track at NOLA last year, but yeah, for the most part, people that are at the track are either having to work on their stuff or they're in their giant toter home. So
WRL's that way too. It's real quiet in the evenings. Unless,
That's so lame
unless people are
and boring.
wrenching, it's quiet.
That's so lame and boring.
We were the loud group working on things. Well, I was really loud because I was throwing gigantic fucking rotors because of the van.
Were you really mad about it?
Yes.
Were you like using F-bombs and stuff?
Yes. Andrew Raines came over and tried to talk to me, and I was in such a bad mood that he just kind of like, well, see you later.
Oh, no, Robbie.
Sorry, Andrew.
Poor Andrew was just like, I just wanted to talk to you about breakpoints.
Yeah, he just wanted to hang out and improve my driving and be like super cool guy.
Rates.
Yep.
But Booney had to go and ruin that for you, didn't he?
Yep.
God, look at over. I'm gonna go over there.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, look at all my friends over there having fun.
And
Sucks to
Andrew
suck.
was like, Andrew was like, I didn't know that about my mother, but okay. I guess I'll check in with you later, Robbie.
Yeah. But yeah, this fuel or this liquid dispensing unit.
$80 is a totally reasonable amount of money.
If that battery lasts even remotely close to a weekend, it is ship shape.
Yeah. Ugh. Damn it, Robbie. I'm so tired all of the time. I don't understand.
It's called being an adult. Sucks.
It's called having 2 kids.
Yeah, but last weekend they
I'm
were
tired of it.
gone.
Yeah.
And I slept an annoyingly small amount. I was like so ready. I was going to stay up late and sleep in late. And I went to bed at like 9 o'clock. And I got up at like 6:30. I'm like, this is bullshit. I hate it.
Yeah, I can't sleep in
That
anymore.
also has to do with having kids, I think.
No, I don't have kids. I still can't sleep in.
Yeah.
It's just because you're a go-getter.
No, even on the days that I do jack shit. It's like I woke up last week and I was like, I'm going to sleep in. And I'm going to wake up and I'm going to make myself breakfast.
I did that.
Brunch, at that point, really, is what my plan was.
Yeah, I feel that.
So then by the time I'm done with breakfast, I can relax for a little bit, talk shit to Dalton on the group chat.
I mean,
as you do.
As one does.
Yep. And then by the time I get done doing that, the first NCAA tournament game will start.
It'll be a great weekend.
Yeah.
Great Saturday.
I woke up at 6:30. And when the next game doesn't start till 11:30, what am I supposed to do with that kind of time?
You still made brunch, but you also made breakfast before that.
I made breakfast. I made brunch. I had a lot. I read a bunch of reading about data acquisition stuff.
That's lame.
I know. Drank a bunch of coffee. And then I worked on my lawnmower. I didn't want to be a go-getter.
Gross. Did you successfully not leave your house?
No. I left for a little bit.
I had to go grocery shopping.
I had to run some errands,
Yep.
and my goal was to come home from work Friday and not leave until I go to work on Monday, and I did not accomplish that goal.
I did have to go to the grocery store. I bought myself some steak and some bacon wrapped asparagus, though, so it was worth it.
Yep. Didn't quite have that good of errand running.
They were both on sale, and I was like,
yeah.
I mean, you'd be dumb not to, right?
That's what I did when buffalo meat was on sale. I bought all they had, which is only like 3 pounds. But
buffalo meat. What the fuck, Robbie?
it's so good.
I'm sure it's great.
It's so much better than beef.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it like leaner or something?
So lean. It's and like I don't like. Do you want me to get them like soapbox
It's
about
grass fed, isn't it, Robbie?
Yeah, all buffalo is any decent buffalo is grass fed because it's like super unnatural to put a buffalo in a feedlot. Well, it's super unnatural to put a cow in a feedlot. Cows,
like, we don't want to get into this conversation, but
everything.
if anything in a feedlot did not come there naturally, Robbie.
Well, cattle in general, the way we raise them and eat them, that's so not natural at all.
No, it's pretty unnatural.
So, like, bison are still.
You of all people are well versed in how unnatural it is.
Yes. No, a beef and dairy farm is very unnatural. Like, cattle are not native to anywhere here.
The United States of America.
Yeah, so, but I'm a big fan.
Don't
big
watch
fan
that
of
one
buffalo.
documentary. Yeah, don't watch that one documentary if you want to continue eating meat and not having like a lot of thoughts.
I refuse to watch those.
Yeah, I don't watch those documentaries.
There's apparently one about the ocean too, and I refuse to watch that one as well.
Yeah,
I like fish.
I do like fish.
We're gonna run out of them though. Apparently, if you watch the Doomsday or
I don't watch any of those.
Yeah,
no. But no, if you get the opportunity to eat any sort of like buffalo or bison, like steaks or ground beef, like because Costco sells the ground beef or the ground buffalo, but it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, we used to have a burger chain here that had like different like buffalo and ostrich and all kinds of different wild, random stuff.
Yeah.
You could get on the burger patties.
Big fan.
Didn't Fuddruckers do that?
Fuddruckers used to have a buffalo burger.
Fuddruckers is one I was talking about. I didn't know if you guys.
We had a Fuddruckers here.
Closed. Now it's a Texas Roadhouse. Thanks a lot, Texas.
Yeah, fucking Texas.
Yeah, I think Fuddruckers was a Texas company, but yeah.
At one point in time,
I enjoyed Fuddruckers.
Me, Robbie, and Michael decided that Fuddruckers was the best, like, sit-down chain burger joint, and that I would rather go to Fuddruckers than Five Guys.
I would vouch.
We made that decision collectively at one point.
Yep, we didn't. Yeah, that's why we could all agree on that.
Yeah.
Apparently, you didn't publicize that enough, and they went out of business.
I used to go there all the time. Now
what was really frustrating was, like, I never thought to go there. And it was almost literally across the street from the Five Guys we have.
Yep.
So, anyway, let's talk about Dusty's adventures.
Yeah, but before we do that, I got to remind everyone to head over to Petrobox, mypetrobox.com. If you want to have a automotive-themed gift box show up at your door once a month, go to mypetrobox.com, use the code TTP15 to get 15% off your first one. And if you want to kind of see what's available, typically in these boxes, it's usually automotive-focused, like T-shirts and I guess all sorts of gear, too. Like, you got dog leashes, dog collars, and then car care products. All this stuff shows up in the box. Well, not all of it, but like an assortment of it shows up once a month. And then, if you go to the store, you can still use our code TTP15 for 15% off of everything that's in the store. So if you just want to pick and choose, like, you know what, I need some glass cleaner and some wheel cleaner. You know, I got a bunch of brake dust I have to get off my wheels. You can get 50% off already these super cheap prices for car care products.
They have good shirts.
They have excellent shirts. Look at that shirt.
Oh, nice.
I remembered this time to wear a shirt.
We appreciate that, and so does Petrobox.
I forgot it was Wednesday when I left my house this morning. So I don't have my Gulf Racing jacket with me either.
Dang it.
Sorry, John.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Katie says she doesn't like it.
No, it's too
All
bad.
the more reason.
Yeah, it's too bad that she has to go.
I know, right? She didn't like my Dodge Boys Have More Fun jacket either, so.
It's a miracle she's still around with that type of.
I mean,
with those type of opinions.
You don't even know, Robbie. I mean, those are gentle opinions compared to some of the other ones she's got. So I don't know why I keep her around.
Have you ever been told that you were selfish for liking the racing that you do?
I like my kids.
Okay.
My kid mostly. I'm not terribly attached to the baby at this point. I don't like babies. I mean, I love the girl to death, but I don't like babies that much in general. Just not a baby person. That's fine.
This baby-hating branch has been brought to you by Petrobox, mypetrobox.com.
Being 18 months into that endeavor, I can see where you're coming from.
That's okay. I can't do 18 minutes before I'm sick of it. So
yesterday I forgot. So I stayed home from work yesterday because Katie was not feeling very well. So I stayed home to help her out with some stuff, and I missed pickup time for my son from the bus stop, which normally he would just walk home, but yesterday it was pretty cold and pouring rain.
Yeah.
And I realized that I missed picking him up when I heard him crying outside the front door.
Was the door locked?
No, we don't lock our door. Are you crazy? But like, dude, I've never felt so bad because he came in just soaking wet and shivering, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such a terrible parent. I am the worst.
I left Kyle outside one night. I let him outside to go outside, and then I went and got a glass of water and just went to bed. And then just woke up like hours later. Like,
where's Kyle?
Like in my sleep, it occurred to me, you didn't let him in. He was just sitting on the porch.
Weird,
but I understand. Like, it's not the same feeling, obviously. But
I did that with our dog, but only for 30 minutes. I forgot to. Because I thought she was laying down in bed with Katie, who had already gone to bed, and I'm sitting up doing nothing, And then I went to bed. I went to go to bed and walked in the bedroom with the dogs. And I was like, "Where's Lily?" And they're like, "She must be with Logan." I kind of call Lily,
nothing.
Oh fuck. She's outside.
No, so if it was the spaniel, it'd be sitting outside barking like crazy to let him. Just he's very demanding when he wants in.
Weird.
Now.
I wouldn't have guessed.
But the pit bull will sit outside and just wait. quietly and patiently.
Yeah.
No barking, no aggression whatsoever. He'll just, okay, I guess I'm staying here now.
You're lucky like me. We don't put our dogs on leashes when we let them out. Just let them at the front door and go.
They come right back.
Yeah, fuck it.
I live in the country.
I don't.
You're next to a field.
That's fair. Dusty probably doesn't get to do that.
No, his HOA doesn't allow that.
That's probably fair.
So I don't have an HOA, but yeah, my dog's super chill. I can just walk down the street with him, and he just walks right next to me.
Oh, okay.
That'd be nice.
I never, ever thought I would have a dog like that. So
I can't bring my... If there's other humans around, Yancey needs a shot collar and a leash.
What about other dogs?
He's real excited about other dogs.
But is he aggressive?
That's very hit or miss.
Like if I brought Lily over here?
Totally fine. Jess's friends brought their dog, and it was like he had the best time.
Because Lily would love a playmate.
But then...
And she'll go hard.
Yeah, but she'll probably get humped. Yancey's a humper.
I know.
Your leg knows. But the neighbor's lab came over and was sitting on our porch and just started barking. Like, I don't know if he wanted us to let him in, but Yancey lost his mind.
Yeah.
So then I go out to kind of like get the dog while Jess tells the neighbor, hey, your dog's here. And Yancey like darted out with me, went straight for the throat.
Oh, Jesus.
It was not a friendly, I'm playing here. He was ready to go.
Well, he was protecting his...
Yes.
That's rough.
Why he chose to attack this gentle lab? No idea.
That he's met before?
No.
But
he was totally fine with the not what's it called? Border Collie or whatever the hell it was. Or Australian Shepherd. It was an Australian Shepherd. But like totally fine with this Australian Shepherd that he'd never met before, and they're like best of friends. Like they were just running around the yard. Like I don't know. He's just a good judge character, apparently.
Well, I mean, he doesn't like Booney, so we know he's a good judge.
And he really likes you.
He does like me. We're besties. I was sitting on the couch with him earlier.
That's true.
So
he woke up that day and chose violence. It's something we all choose.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Dusty, what have you been up to?
So I went to play with motorcycles.
Should I preface this a little bit?
Yeah, you should probably like tell how it came about. Because
So-
I don't know anything about this.
Popped up.
So
into
I don't
my,
know.
Inbox.
I think that Robbie maybe at some point signed us up for some like automotive media email
We've done,
chain.
There's a couple of them that I'm on.
because we get a bunch of like press releases and stuff we don't care about.
Most of it, yeah.
But every once in a while, something mildly interesting pops up. And we got an email from this. Is it the American? What is it?
It's
So the series is called American Flat. It's Progressive American Flat Track.
American
Is
Flat
the
Track.
actual
That's-
series.
Why
and
do I
then-
keep thinking it's AMA?
American
I
Motorcycle
think AMA
Association. Yes.
sanctions it.
AMA sanctions
Okay.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I had to fill out a like home loan application type like
Disclosure.
membership thing
Yeah.
to get applied for it. But
So we get an email from one of their PR reps, like saying, "Hey, we've got this event in Texas. We're looking for members of the media. If you're interested in coming, we'll give you like the VIP experience. You can get in, you can do your thing. We'd love to have you." And I was like, "Well, I'm not in Texas, but Dusty is in Texas, and while I'm not just going to give our ability to get into events through media access to just any old schmo, I know Dusty well enough to know that he's going to be at least semi-professional.
Yeah, professional enough.
Yeah.
Our level of professional.
Yeah. He's at least at our level.
Yep.
Maybe even better.
I'll wait till at least 7:30 or 8 o'clock to start taking my shirt off or anything like that. So
That's better than us.
I mean, you're probably not going to catch me anywhere without my shirt on, but
It's a miracle I ever had my shirt on.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. So Dusty kind of looked over it and said, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." And I said, "Well, have at it." So yeah, he went motorcycle racing.
Flat track racing, no less.
So flat track, is it like literally
A flat track.
like the
So
corners
the-
are not banked at all?
So the track at TMS is a regular half-mile dirt track. So it's got a good amount of banking to
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So whenever they came out before practice, they put a line that was probably a third of the way up the track, and that was the bottom edge that they couldn't go below that.
Oh, okay.
So they were running on it was reasonably banked. So if you on their schedule they run like mile long tracks, which I think are basically kind of like horse tracks that are like fully flat. And that's the kind of thing I think about whenever I think about flat track.
Yeah.
And the bikes are leaned way out all the way through the corner.
Yeah, they're like 45 degrees off the thing.
Yeah.
At the back end, like how does that even not fall in over? Like, yeah, that's where my head goes when I think flat track.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So I knew this track wasn't like that, but they do the mile, half mile, and then there was one other configuration. I'm not being a very good newsman right now.
That's better than I would have done.
But so is this the same facility that you went to for Formula Drift?
Yeah, so TMS has the big NASCAR track that's a mile and a half oval, and then
isn't that where the TV screen is?
Yeah, that's where Big Hoss is.
Big Hoss.
You don't remember that?
I think so.
At the racetrack, they have like the world's largest TV screen or whatever. Well, I think the Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
The stadiums are bigger.
In 2018, it was the largest. I think it's been surpassed.
Yeah.
Since then, it might have even been surpassed by the one they put up at Charlotte, which is owned by the same group. But,
jeez.
Yeah.
So they have the big NASCAR track, and then out between it and the interstate, there's the half-mile dirt track too. And I don't know that I think it gets used like maybe 5 or 6 times a year.
Okay. So this isn't like every Friday night you go down there and watch hobby stocks and modifieds.
No, they're not doing your normal like grassroots like racing there. They do big IMCA races. I think the World of Outlaws comes through sometimes.
World of Outlaws probably.
And a lot of big money like modified racing and stuff like that.
Okay.
But, just quarter-mile dirt oval. It has a tunnel, so you can get to the infield without having to cross the track, which is like something that is just not something you ever see at a dirt track. So
that's wild for a quarter mile. Like, that's not that big a track. I wouldn't think they'd need that.
Yeah, so they
or even bother.
Yeah, well, that's the way that Speedway Motorsports that owns the tracks. That's just how they roll.
We definitely a Texas thing that we wouldn't understand. So anyway, this weekend they ran quite a few different classes, didn't they?
Yeah, so there's 3 different classes. There is they call them so there's production twins, which are like the Harley Indian. There was one guy riding a Royal Enfield, which he was automatically my hero because
that's so cool.
I have a love of cafe racers going back quite a few years.
So is that still are they still making bikes?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so he wasn't racing some extinct thing.
I think they're owned by like Tata or something like that now.
Sure,
I think
everything in Britain is.
yeah, and I might be making bad connections on that, but there was probably, and I think there was some Yamahas and some other stuff too. So there was a lot of different manufacturers represented in that class, and they're like stripped down. Like the Harley's like a Sportster,
right.
That kind of thing. It's the small but still like a cruiser style. Done like a bobber racer kind of bikes. And then there's the 450 class, which is just straight up like 450 motocross bikes from Honda, Suzuki, Husqvarna, and just prepped for the flat track stuff. So no front brake, big meaty tires on.
Oh, that's right. Rear. They don't have a front brake, do they? I didn't notice that till you said it. But holy cow, that's.
Yeah, so the 450s were super fun to watch. It was super close racing, and the bikes they've got a lot more suspension travel. Like they're really stiffened up compared to what like a motocross bike would be. But like they're a lot more animated. Like whenever they would dump the brake at the end of the straights, like the bikes wobble around a lot, and just really animated looking. Just you can tell a lot more about what's going on with them than you could with the twins. And then like the top level class is they call it Super Twins, and it's the same style of bike as the production twins, but it's just the full race like heavier built bikes. And again, same manufacturers, Harley, Indian, that kind of stuff. And this is like factory efforts from those teams. So like Vance and Hines is running a group of Harleys. Indian so cool. had a full like 53-foot transporter plus another like box truck thing, and had like they were running like 7 or 8 bikes out of it.
Jeez. And then that's so cool. I didn't know that like this would have factory effort level stuff like that. That's not something you see Harley or anybody like really advertising that much.
No, you'll see like pictures in advertisements, but like you don't hear about the actual effort.
No, that's cool.
And I think it's very targeted to just the markets where those where those buyers are. I'm sure there's the like Cycle World or whatever magazines are left and that kind of thing. But yeah, the Indian effort was by far the most impressive thing there, like hands down. I'm used to seeing Vance and Hines stuff from back in the when we were going to NHRA racing all the time, and Vance and Hines always had the craziest setups.
So cool.
And they just had like it was like a longer version of like what Booney's got, a little box truck thing with just a couple of canopies out next to it. And I was just like, oh, that's crazy.
Wasn't Lori originally built as like a motorcycle hauler?
No. Gosh, now thinking back to his podcast he did with Slip Angle.
Yeah.
He knows who it was built for, but I think it wasn't specifically for motorcycles. It was for cars.
Oh.
But the guy has Indian motorcycles on the side.
Yeah, I remember that.
Of it. But I think it was actually made for cars or automotive racing. But the guy was more involved with both, maybe.
Okay.
If you want to know more, listen to the Slip Angle podcast with Booney.
Yeah, there you go. But
the title of that one is just Booney, which is funny.
Just Booney. Don't call him anything else. It's just Booney.
Just Booney. So, I don't know. What do you got? Any questions, Robbie?
So I know Supermoto a little bit because I went and watched one.
Let's talk about it.
They had jumps and stuff.
That seems slightly more exciting. Were these like fast?
Yeah, so they say on their materials they run like 130 to 140 miles per hour. I don't know that they were going that fast on the half mile.
That sounds like a mile track thing.
But so the freaky thing there, so there's no there's no camera windows in the catch fence there. So all the shooting had to be from inside from the infield.
Okay. It would also look like there wasn't a lot of protection between you and them. Or was that just the angle of the picture?
No, so they tell us in the meeting, okay, the only restrictions they really have here is there's some guardrails around like the light stands. So there's like 6 big light stands, and then we've got some like bike rail up along the front straight. And just anytime the bikes are on track, you need to be behind. Like you basically just have to be behind something. And that was the same rule they had for FD too. Like they had a couple different spots that they had just like Jersey barriers up. So I get out there and I'm looking at the rails and it's like, okay, this is like
what
it's like
I got myself into.
Well, it's like okay, so it's a light pole and then there's like an 8-foot diameter piece of Armco around it that's round, and then there's like 12 feet of grass and then the track.
I have a wife and kid I need to go home to. This is
so I'm shooting. I got a new lens and it's 100 to 400 millimeter that I didn't have it whenever I went to Super Lab, and it was too long at 100 millimeters. Like I was like the spots in the corners. I'm like, this is too big. I can't get zoomed out far enough. It was freaky. And it's a different deal with bikes versus cars. Like with the bikes, if anything happens, like it's the guy's going to get away from the bike and the bike's going to go out. Like it didn't ever really occur to me that I was in a bad spot just because like they still have a guy standing on the front straightaway waving green flags and checkered flags like an old like 50s like Le Mans video.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just gonna say that because you have a picture of one of the corner workers and he looks like he's probably 3 feet off the track.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit further than that, but not much. But.
Well, and I mean, momentum says most of the time the bike's going to go up and out.
Yeah, something has to really go wrong for it to go on the infield.
Yeah.
Yes. So anything I saw that happened that turned poorly, the bike went straight out to the wall, like as soon as it happened.
To the outside.
Yeah, to the outside, because I mean the straightaways are long enough there that they do kind of straighten up, but it's mostly just lean further, lean further. Like it's not, it's a different deal than, like if cars were getting together, you could shoot a car off into the infield, like no problem. I could see that happening in a second.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have been standing where I was for an IMCA race, I don't think.
For a World of Outlaws race?
Yeah, especially not sprint cars. I wouldn't be in the infield for a sprint car race.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they go down a lot?
There was a couple of guys went down with
like
just like
really
trying
hurt.
Yeah, I feel like you could get yourself in trouble pretty easily.
Yeah, so like early on in the practice sessions, and they were I think they were fighting with the track the whole night, like because a dirt track, it's kind of this like Ralph Shaheen that I've liked for a really long time was doing the broadcast and was on the PA, and he was talking during one of the breaks whenever they were prepping the track about how a dirt track is like this living, breathing thing, and you have to massage it through the night and through the week leading up to it to make sure that everything's perfect for whenever you want to race on it. And they were having problems with, like, I don't know if it was just too dry or what took place, but it didn't ever really like rubber in, and like they were having problems with it just kind of peeling up. They did a lot of prep to just like brush stuff off of it, because the guys were just sliding around on it versus being able to just really, get the bikes hooked in and get them around the track really well. And I think that was kind of an ongoing problem through the night. So like early on in the day, a lot of guys would throw it down into the corner and lose the front end or the back end and just kind of go down really easily. I did see in the 450 race, and I have a sequence in those photos.
Yep.
A guy lost. I don't remember I think it kind of high sided him, and then right after that, I pulled my camera down, and it was already behind. It was behind another photographer by the time the bike actually stopped, and then another guy hit that bike and just went like center punched it full speed, nowhere to go, and I zoomed in, and he is laying in the middle of the track, face down, not moving. And I did not want to be a part of the motorcycle thing anymore, because I like watching things where the ambulance rolls out there purely as a precaution, not because the guy's like seriously hurt.
To me, in a perfect world, you're green to checker. Like the whole, everything goes smoothly. It's close, it's tight, but there's no contact and no crashing. That's the racing I want to see.
Yeah, so my dad had a buddy that did drag boat racing back in the 80s.
That's some real Death Wish stuff.
Yep.
So they would go, and like somebody ended up getting buried at the end of each one of those weekends. And that was just everybody accepted it, and that was what happened.
No.
Well, because when those boats crash, you're in your little coffin and it just goes under the water and you stay there.
No. That's not.
Yeah.
That's really upsetting. I don't like that at all.
No, boats scare me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going fast on water has never interested me at all. And going fast on two wheels was not far behind it, even though I did ride a bike for a while. But
I'm interested in bikes a little bit, but not speedboats. Racing boats. I want to go see the shootout in the Ozarks.
Just for the spectacle?
Just to see it. But I have no interest in that.
Yeah.
That's where I draw my limit.
That's fair. That seems totally reasonable.
Yeah, so I told my dad that was my like little glimpse of what drag boat racing must have been like, was that 5 minutes while they're, waiting for, like, they're over there assessing the guy, and then I finally see them pull his helmet off. I'm like, okay, like, if they're pulling his helmet off, like, that makes me feel a little bit better about things. But yeah.
Man.
That was a bit of a like sobering, like, oh yeah, that's part of motorcycle racing, is like guys get hurt.
Yeah.
Did you ever see
that,
Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, did you ever see that documentary? I think it's Apex, and it's narrated by Brad Pitt. That it follows these MotoGP guys for, I don't know, a year or two.
Okay.
And it's like
sounds super interesting.
It's like a 3-hour documentary, and it's like you sit down to start watching it, and you're like, it just keeps going. And just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah.
And it's really long, but it's like super interesting because it focuses on like 6 top guys.
Yeah.
But like, it's insane
what they go
through and how damaged they all are.
They gotta be. They gotta be.
Because like, you see in the clips where they like slide out and then they just slide for like 1,000 feet, and then they just pop right back
into oblivion.
Yeah, they just pop right back up, and it's like, okay, the armadillo padding in the back did its thing. It's not always that smooth.
No.
Or ever that smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys have all got plates, and all their collarbones are just metal, and shoulder blades, and anything on your upper extremities.
Yeah.
In that line of work is in danger.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's that one.
like,
I don't think it's that documentary they talked about. But like, there was something like where the top motorcycle guys would like have something removed.
Oh, I remember we talked about that
what is it?
I think we did that as a news article years and years ago, where they had to like
they would remove a muscle, or they would
because it gets so fucked up from holding your throttle back.
Yeah.
Down.
That's it.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
That's some dedication.
That's wild. Man. That's so wild. Is there a lot of passing? Because I remember I used to watch a lot of MotoGP because I loved how often, like, you know, it's oftentimes it's really hard to pass a car because they're so big. But like with MotoGP, those guys could pass each other 2 or 3 times in one set of corners, and so it was really interesting to watch that. Is that happening a lot with this stuff?
So it wasn't this weekend, and I think it might have. Like that's what I was excited about,
right?
Was
to
see, you know, like some good like over under type stuff, like what MotoGP does. I think the fact that they were having trouble with the track, it was kind of just like a 1 lane. I think there was about a foot of usable track.
Oh, shoot.
Width wise. So I think that was part of why there might not have been. The 450s were duking it out quite a bit. And I think those bikes are probably just a little more like closely matched between each other. Both the production and the Super Twins would pretty well. Everybody would barrel down into turn 1 and kind of settle out. And then you would have some guys moving up and down, you know, throughout the thing, but not a ton of the back and forth like I was really kind of expecting. But I also like really didn't get a chance to watch much video or do a whole lot of reading about all of it before going there. So I was learning on the fly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of part of the fun of something like that. An experience like this is just like, you know, we've talked a lot of times about just going and showing up and watching racing because it's fun. And like, even if the night doesn't go like you had hoped or planned, I'm sure it was still like a really good experience. It's something that's really fun to just, it's better than sitting at home, you know?
Well, yeah. So part of it, I think, so I grew up around NHRA drag racing, and I was always like, I always knew about all the classes and all the drivers and everything else. And then, like, I watch F1, I watch, you know, sports car racing and all this stuff. Like everything that I watch, I know I know way more than I probably need to about it. So it's kind of cool to just go in blind and just like, oh, these bikes are cool.
Just like that.
I don't know anything about them, but they're cool.
That blissfully ignorant. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Like the people that you would always sit behind at NHRA races and just talking about the most inane stuff that had nothing to do with anything factual. And you just think like, maybe they have it right. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's better to not know, you know?
That's not how any of this works. is mostly what I spend my time thinking, sitting behind those people. Like, no, that's not even kind of true.
So that's what I did with Supermoto. I just showed up and happened to be there on the right day.
It was just kind of a time and place, random chance.
And it was super fun. I would have really enjoyed this.
I think it'd be cool. So
I definitely so the thing about watching them from the infield, it was hard to get an idea of how fast they were really going because you're just watching them go by. And then there was a break for track prep, and I ran back out to my car to get a jacket because I'd been there so long it was getting cold.
It was like 65 degrees.
I was going to say it's probably 60, 65
it legitimately wasn't the 50s, but I was wearing like a Columbia long sleeve shirt that breathes really, really well. But anyway,
it's probably like a 3 or 4 mile an hour breeze too, though.
Oh, man.
I mean, that, it's the wind chill that gets you.
It is the wind chill that gets you.
Yeah.
That's what I said to myself today when I was filling up the gas.
Yeah. Oh man, if I could get out of this wind, it wouldn't be so bad.
I was like, yeah, it's 30 and windy, but man, it's
it's 30 degrees out here. The wind, but if the wind wasn't blowing 25 miles an hour, it wouldn't be so bad.
That's true.
The feels like was 52. I double checked it.
I appreciate you sticking it out in such harsh conditions.
Yeah, it was adverse conditions. Yeah.
You want to trade?
No, I'm good.
Because it's currently. I mean, it's granted it's pretty windy out there. It's currently 36, feels like 27 here right now.
It sucks, and it's been raining for 3 straight days.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop. Actually, I think it's going to stop raining and turn into snow instead.
Great.
So
anyways, back to once you got your comfy jacket.
So yeah, I went out to my car to get my jacket and was walking down the back straight and like realized like, holy crap, those guys are hauling ass. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what it is about the difference in seeing it from the outside versus the inside, but standing at the end of the straight where they were dumping the brake, like my gosh, and that was the 450s. It wasn't like the big bikes were going even faster.
Yeah, I mean, 100 miles an hour on dirt
on a bike
feels different.
That's
than
gotta
100
be
miles
wild,
an hour
dude. It's gotta be so wild doing 100 miles an hour with a bike 8 inches away from you
and 1 foot of
dirt.
on 1 foot of usable track.
That's gotta be wild. That's, I mean, woof.
And the way that the thing that always amazes me watching any kind of motorcycle racing is how the guys can just like wobble with the bike whenever it does something out of sorts. And those guys coming up onto the back straight, the bikes would like donkey kick and just do all kinds of nasty stuff, and they just whoop 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 and then woo, keep going,
hammer down.
Like I can't imagine what it takes to it's guys that have been doing it all their lives, so all those motions are just something that they have the muscle memory for. But
and that level of core strength and muscle memory.
Yes.
So one of the things that did crack me up though, versus like, watching MotoGP or Superbikes or something, like all those guys are super tiny and they weigh like 140 pounds. And
what are you trying to say?
There was some. What's that?
What are you trying to say?
Hey, I'm only 150, so
you're not like 5'3".
This is the heaviest I've ever.
You're not 5'3" either. Like those MotoGP guys are like
jockeys.
They're jockeys, except instead of riding horses, they're riding something that's arguably more dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy that won the production twin class, his wife looked like she was about 5'2", and she stood a head taller than him. Like he was a little dude
on a big bike.
Yeah, on a big bike.
Jeez.
Like standing next to one of these production twins, it's not a very tall bike, and it looks like one of the like motocross guys standing next to a 450.
Huh.
How tall those bikes are. But
that's weird.
Yeah, that's wild. That always kind of blew my mind, how somebody with that little bit of weight is able to manhandle or woman handle a full size bike.
Person handle.
A person handle.
Yeah.
But like, because like I drove my dad's Fat Boy Harley one time.
Yeah.
And like, man, I think I've drove it a couple times. I'm like, nope, this thing's way too heavy, way too big. I have the weight somehow to maintain it, but
until it decides that gravity wants to take over it, and then you just need to get out of the way.
Yeah. Just hope I don't bounce off the ground with my head.
That's why I can't fathom those Boss Hoss motorcycles.
Yeah,
with the
big
V8s.
Yeah,
mind-blowing.
Absolutely not.
Like you get big block Chevys in them.
Uh-huh.
That's so much weight, Robbie.
Right between your legs.
I mean, a big block Chevy weighs as much as probably one of these bikes does.
Probably more.
Plus the chassis that it fits in.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I never got comfortable on a full size bike. I never got comfortable even on the Buell 1100R.
Yeah.
Just because it was a V twin sport bike.
Yeah.
Never got comfortable on that.
So much torque.
I was comfortable on an R6, and any motocross bike I was ever on.
Yeah, I've never ridden anything motorbike related except my dad's Honda Trail 50.
It's a bit of a jump, but
so
just scale it up a little bit. It's basically
so like my dad has always told me, it's funny because when you put a young kid on something like that, that's usually what turns them into motorcycle enthusiasts. And that's what chased me away from it, because I crashed it real bad like one time when I was 7 or 8 years old. And then like I wouldn't even get close to it for like 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
And like I still have this very healthy, almost irrational fear of motorcycles.
I think my sister's the exact same way, because we had a Yamaha TTR 90.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned on, and my brother learned on, and I had a 125 at the time. And my sister was probably, at about that age where you would put a kid on a bike.
Yep.
So we're just in the driveway, put her on it, and explained like how it all works. And it didn't have a clutch, but it was a manual transmission.
Yeah, you just pick it.
Yeah.
That's the way our
so basically
Honda Trail 50 is.
Showed her how to do it, and so she got on it, put it in first gear, and we're at we got a driveway that's probably, I don't know, 100 feet. What do say? And so we're sitting there on the driveway, and she just pegs it full throttle, goes for it, like just goes down the driveway, across the street, jumps the curb right into an evergreen.
Yep.
Never touched a bike again.
Yep.
Ever. I don't know if she ever rode on the back of a motorcycle with a boyfriend or a guy ever.
I mean,
I don't think she's ever been on a motorcycle.
Your parents probably couldn't be happier about the outcome of that situation, to be all.
Yeah. No, if your daughter comes home with a guy with a motorcycle, sorry.
Yeah, she's not into bad boy bikers. So, I mean,
she got that working out for her.
You win some, you lose some, right? She won't go on father-daughter rides, but at least she's not coming home with a leather-clad biker. I mean...
Stereotypes.
To say,
hey, don't you have a daughter? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Taking notes, Robbie.
I'm living proof that not all bikers are bad boys, because I rode a motorcycle for a while, and I was definitely the least bad motorcycle
You rode a
rider.
sport bike. That doesn't even count.
What? Sport bikes are where the... that's where,
no
that's,
way,
that's
dude. Harley.
No, the sport bike guys are the guys that literally buy bikes to pick up girls.
Sport bike guys are literally the ones that don't
Harley
have...
owners still totally do that.
No, it's not the same. A guy that rolls up to like a car meet or like a hangout thing where all the high school kids are, shows up on his R6 or an R1,
like a 16-year or like a 17-year-old kid with an R1.
He's there with his R1 to show off, to pick up some girl. Hey, you want to go for a ride? Harley guys aren't doing that.
You're not wrong.
Or Shadow guys, or the Honda guys, whatever.
Cruisers.
Yeah, cruisers aren't doing that.
You're not wrong.
Sport bike guys are also the ones that don't have driver's licenses or insurance, because most of the Harley guys are lawyers and doctors.
Who just dress up like that because they think it's cool.
They sell a lifestyle.
I have a lot of Harley owning coworkers that won't ride their bike to work because it's too much work to get
all the gear
dressed up, and I'm like, we're gonna just fucking ride the thing.
Just put a jacket on and a helmet and just go.
Just no, Robbie.
I'll give you gloves.
We're not wearing a helmet.
What?
Yeah, you got to get geared up, but that doesn't include any safety gear.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
They're not required by the man here. They're not going to wear them, Robbie.
Fuck that. I will not get on a motorcycle without a helmet.
Yeah,
ever.
That's fair.
So the next time any insurance you pay for is through the roof expensive, just remember that that's because you're paying for bikers' head injuries that don't wear helmets.
I don't get it, man. No, I think it was in California. There was an anti-helmet law parade one time, and like one of the main guys was in it, and it was parade speeds, like literally walking your bike.
Yeah.
And he fell over, hit his head on the ground, and he died. Kind of defeated the whole fucking purpose.
It's not funny, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
The irony is not.
And the thing with that too is like the ones that just die aren't the issue from an insurance standpoint.
No,
it's the ones that end up on like lifelong care because they're a vegetable.
Uh-huh. I like my brain
just
too much. Yeah. I don't even like skating without a helmet.
Yeah, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, I don't know if it was editorialized by the guy that taught it to us or if it was actually in there. It was like, hey, idiot, this isn't just your choice.
No, man. There's a lot to lose by bouncing your head off a concrete or wood or a dirt floor. Not worth it.
So motorcycle racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm still in on motorcycle racing.
I could see you like gearing up for a motorcycle race.
I'd enjoy that. I mean, I loved motocross. I loved doing it.
I think a motorcycle track day, bro, would make a lot more sense.
For me?
No, like just in general.
Yeah. I think if an off-track excursion could be more expensive physically to my body.
Well, so we talked about Scott and Seth a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Seth of track walking fame.
Yeah.
He's doing it right.
Yeah, he does endurance bike stuff.
But he uses little bikes, like mini bikes.
They're not that many.
Like 90cc, I think. I think they're small guys.
I think he does some other stuff that's a little bigger.
Yeah, but then they do it on like go-kart tracks.
Yeah, that'd be a good time. I'd enjoy that.
That makes a lot of sense.
No, we used to do a bunch of trail riding and jumps and stuff.
I've never done jumps, but I've ripped it across the pasture and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, that's probably one of those things that's probably best I didn't continue on with because the injuries would be through the roof.
You wouldn't be able to work where you do now because their health insurance isn't nearly good enough.
I just eat my deductible every year.
That's fair. Yeah.
Out of pocket max.
You just budget that in and off you go, right?
That's just part of the racing budget.
Yeah. What do you save in tires and gas and
for the events
like that?
The events that I missed, that's what I paid for.
Your $5,000 deductible. That's your tire budget for the year.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just planning ahead.
I work with some guys that ride motocross, and one of them was out for a while, and I was like, "Where's Chris at?" Oh yeah, he came over the backside of a double, and there was a guy laying on the ground that he landed on and like fractured like 3 vertebrae or something that. The dude's like mid-20s, and he's got plates in his back and stuff like that's. You're gonna live with that for a long time, like that.
No,
that's.
No, I was big into freestyle motocross for a while. So like they do like any interview they do be like, so I got broke collarbones, I got this is broken, I got plates here, and like it takes them like 5 minutes to list off all of the plates they have.
List
in their
what
body.
You don't have plated and broken. That's faster.
Yeah, the Brian Deegan documentary is really good. I mean, it's super dated now because it's like 15 years old at this point. But yeah,
I have 2 6-inch plates in my arm, and that's enough.
That's too many.
You
could do it.
Chicks do scars, Robbie.
Fair enough. That's like I set my leg.
Yeah, but mine's more obvious.
Yeah,
we're jeans guys.
I'm a jeans guy, except at the gym. But even then, no one like talks to me about it.
Well, you don't want to talk to people at the gym. That's literally what you do. That's gym etiquette 101.
Headphones
Robbie.
in.
I don't even go to the gym, and I know not to talk to people at the gym.
Yep. Focused.
But like, I get questions about Earthworm Jim here all the time.
What happened to your arm?
Yeah. Well, 15 years ago, because I'm fucking. Actually, it's more than that.
Older than that.
I was 14. It's 20 years ago. Son of a bitch. Dusty, getting old sucks.
It's best not to start adding that up.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yep.
So. My only broken bones are my toe, which nobody can see, obviously, and both of my collarbones, which nobody can see.
I don't know how I've managed not to break a collarbone.
The only thing I ever broke was the little tiny bone that connects your thumb to your wrist. The only thing.
Were you skating?
Yeah, it fell. I braced myself with my hand, and that's what the impact broke that.
Robbie was there when I broke my right arm.
Yep.
I was trying to beat him in a contest.
He didn't.
Yeah, because I didn't land it. I broke my arm.
Always pushing each other.
That was even when we weren't really that good of friends. We were just like acquaintances.
That was the day that he texted me and said, "I don't like those clouds."
That's not that day.
It wasn't that day?
No, that was before then.
Oh, okay.
That was well before then. Because that day I drove 12 hours from
Dallas,
Texas to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to compete with you. Then I had to lie about it because my boss told me literally 2 days before that if I got hurt, if I continued to get hurt skating, that I was going to lose my job. And so I had to lie about it and tell him that I fell down a set of stairs and broke my arm.
Jeez.
And I told my mom and dad that too. For a while, that was the story. And then I accidentally one year at like a Thanksgiving or Christmas family get together, I accidentally like spilled the beans, not thinking about it anymore. And then my dad goes, "See, I told you," to my mom.
I feel like this was one of those lies where every time you told it, you were like, "Man, I got away with that," and whoever you were telling it to was like, "You lying ass."
For sure.
They
Are
all
you kidding
knew.
me?
They all knew.
Are you kidding me? For sure, 100%.
I thought it was the same weekend that Ryan and stuff came
Adam.
out.
No, that was
a separate
years
weekend.
after that.
Was
that
it?
you were in college here by then. We were living here.
Okay,
But
yeah,
you were at home and I was at my parents' house.
Yep, and you texted us because we had a group of us
I was
with
in
me.
Sioux City and
Yep.
you were
So we're taking 2 different ways to get to Sioux Falls, and you were like texting us saying, "I don't like these clouds," and we're all looking at the sky like, "There's no clouds, dude."
It was raining where I was. Rob, that was like fucking
20 it was 20 years
That
ago.
was 15 years ago. Robbie still won't drop that shit. I don't like these clouds, man. Fuck you, Robbie.
Still a central part of any grid life weekend, right?
Yeah, I don't like these clouds. They're good life.
Anytime there's clouds in the sky and Robbie and I are together, that's what he'll tell me.
I don't like the
I
clouds.
don't like these clouds. Fucking Robbie.
All right, so we've clearly gone down a rabbit hole that has nothing to do with the whole point of what we were talking about.
It's fine.
So, Dusty, when
you start talking about motorcycles, you start talking about getting hurt. That's how it works.
that goes hand in
that's
hand.
fair.
Yeah. So when are you getting your motorcycle?
So I've been down that path.
Slightly after he gets his trophy truck.
Ooh.
I've owned 4 different motorcycles, 2 of which ran, and yeah.
We heard about your one of your adventures on your motorcycle that required some health attention.
Yeah, so I had a Suzuki SV650 that I rode off the outside of a corner on a country road.
Probably
and
knows how that feels.
Been there. Did that on a Buell.
yeah, so I opted to just stand it up and take it off into the grass, and then realized that there was a driveway coming up that had a nice little 45-degree embankment on it.
Yep.
And we went for a ride. And
For some motocross experience when it came in handy.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Just
Ride it out. Mine went the other way, where it's the front end just kind of dropped off into the ditch, and I went head first.
ooh,
That would be my second concussion. And man, did I fuck up my neck. Which, in hindsight, I probably should have realized this was a red flag. So I went home and I was so embarrassed. It's not my bike.
Yeah.
It was my dad's bike. So because we were actually all riding, so everyone saw it. So they saw what happened. So I didn't have to go home and explain to my dad why I crashed his Buell that he just fixed. So get home, and I'm like so embarrassed. So like I'm playing it off like I'm fine, but clearly that helmet's gone because it's crushed inside because it protected me from dying.
Right.
So we get home, and I just go to the basement and like kind of hide, like just I need to be alone. And I immediately fall asleep and sleep for hours, which is probably like a huge red flag for someone that just had a head injury. But I didn't tell anybody.
Turns out that's a really bad thing.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
And then the next day, I went straight back to Ames, like first thing in the morning. Like I didn't do anything with the family that day. I was like, I'm just going home. I'm going back to my apartment. And like I think we went skating that next day, but like I really didn't do anything. I just kind of hung out at the skate park.
I remember, like, dude, you were kind of in a fog for a while after that.
That concussion. I had to get CT scanned for that one.
Yeah, that was something to be worried about.
That one
for
stuck
sure.
with me I couldn't do homework.
Yeah.
My head hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Because if I sat like bent over a desk doing like math, because that's what I was doing that year.
Yeah, because you're an engineer.
Yeah.
So that's what you did every year.
That's fair. I did, but this was like math semester. It was like specific to like Calc 2 or whatever.
Gross.
But
that sounds awful.
It is.
Calc 2 is not that bad. Actually, Calc 2 is the worst, but like math in general is not bad. But that was the year that like I couldn't sit at a desk because my head would hurt so bad I'd get sick. Like I'd just be like ready to throw up. So they'd scanned my cat and made sure my brain was still functioning, and I think it is.
Everything seems mostly fine.
But yeah, that was the last straw for me ever doing anything without a helmet. I mean, I had a helmet on, but like going through that with a helmet, had I not had the helmet, it would have been life changing or ending.
Yeah, would have been so much worse.
Yep.
Dusty, did you break your collarbone?
Yeah, so
that?
I smacked my head on the top of the tank whenever it hit the driveway hard enough that it collapsed collapsed the top part of the tank. So it looked like I had a stunt boy tank after that. And the bike landed, lost the back end sideways and then high sided and threw me off of it shoulder first and fractured my collarbone. And like called my parents because it was like 20 minutes away from their house, and then a sheriff's deputy drove by and called everybody under the sun, and we had like 14 emergency response vehicles out there shutting down the highway because little old me on my stupid motorcycle ran off the road at 45 miles an hour. I ended up getting like a $200 ticket out of the deal.
So that's what's bullshit.
Oh, that's
a single vehicle accident that caused no damage to anything but himself.
No ticket should be.
You just walk home with your tail between your legs. You don't get a ticket for that. That's bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, he rolled up and rolled down the window. Everybody all right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
License registration.
A little accident. Well, did you have a little accident here? Oh, I just went off the road a little bit, just waiting for my dad to come pick me up. Well, you're supposed to call that in, right? Fuck. Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Didn't he like call an ambulance and everything?
I know. Yeah, there was an ambulance. There was all kinds of like the ambulance rolls up, and I'm like, I'm not paying for this. No. We just want to check you out. No, I'm not paying for this.
No,
we just need to get your name. No. I'm not paying for this. I decline your services.
Go
I am
home.
fine.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That sucks.
And then went and spent 2 hours at the hospital for them to say, "Yep, it's fractured," and then boot me out the door without like doing anything except charging me $2,000.
Can you do anything for a collarbone?
So
some pain pills.
If it
yeah,
so if it's like really badly broken, they'll like go in and like put screws in it or something. So I've broken both of mine, and both of them they were just like, yeah, here's some Oxy, go home and like try not to move.
Don't take any of those because it just makes me sick.
Yeah, I won't. I can't do Oxy. It literally makes me sick.
Yeah.
Which is probably a good thing.
I'll just take a bunch of ibuprofen and like take the edge off the pain, but not be sick, or have no pain but be sick. Those are my options.
Yep. When with my leg, they gave me Oxy, and I think I had like 2 of the pills before. I'm like, nope, never, nope.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'll deal with the pain.
Yeah.
And a collarbone's fun because it's like a broken rib where you just anytime you breathe or laugh or cough or think,
move,
it just kind of like twinges. Yeah.
I broke 1 or 2 ribs once, and I woke up one morning, and like getting out of bed was the worst part, right? Because you haven't had a chance to take any pain pills, so all that's wore off. But you got to like sit up the first time is literally the worst thing in the world. And I got about halfway up and like, oh no, I'm gonna sneeze, and I blacked out for like 8 minutes. Jeez. So yeah, that was a bad day.
I bet.
Yeah. So I feel it.
So flat track things.
So yeah. I wish that I mean I don't think they come around us very much, but it'd be cool to go and watch if they were closer.
I would say besides like going to my parents' cabin and catching stuff at Sturgis, I really don't know what's local. And not like Sturgis is local because it's like 10 hours, but
yeah. And that was just kind of lucky too.
No, they do a bunch of stuff with motorcycles. So like they'll do supermoto there.
They do a lot of motorcycle stuff in Sturgis, huh?
You don't.
I wouldn't have thought.
Not
it's
just,
interesting to know that.
Just during the rally, they'll also do other stuff.
Sorry, I got to be an asshole every once in a while.
Oh,
you got to be an asshole all the time. So
yeah, I'll say just once in a while. Since when is it just once in a while?
I'm a nice guy. I don't know what you're talking about.
So they're going to be in Odessa, Missouri next month.
That's
Missouri's not like close though.
That's not that far. Make an Ozarks week out of it.
I'm looking at their Facebook pages now, seeing if there's any close. Springfield, Illinois.
That's not far.
I don't think that's too bad.
Lima, Ohio.
That's too far. That's too far.
Even if that was close, I wouldn't go because it's Ohio.
Peoria, Illinois. That's a good one for Japan.
Peoria is really close to us.
That's not bad.
That's like west side of Illinois.
That's super reasonable.
Yeah, that's not like too out of the realm of. But
that one is. Oh, that one's got jumps.
Oh, what? Tell me more about the jumps.
So there's the third kind of track was, they call it TT. So it's got, let me find.
Are they jumps or like obstacles?
They're like jumps. Like the event page for it has a dude on like a freaking, like one of the twin bikes, like in the air.
That'd be awesome. That's like stadium super trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
more jumps.
All on dirt.
Racing just needs more jumps.
You're not wrong. So, well, thanks for going anyway.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was
super cool. And
yeah.
This is 2 times I've gone out now that I haven't hated every photo that I took. So
your photos are really good. I was going to ask if you'd changed what you like. Not to say that you shoot that battle.
No, these are 1,000 times.
These are so good.
So I changed up what I was doing on the paddock photos from Superlab. So the first group,
really,
like the racing photos that I did, I wasn't happy with how I exported them. So I kind of changed everything up about how I was processing them on those paddock photos, and they look a lot better initially, and they survive the compression algorithm on Facebook a lot better too, it seems. So
is that a glowing rotor you got in that picture, Robbie?
Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that guy came by and I was like, man, there's sparks coming off of that bike. And then I like flipped it back open and was like, oh yeah, that rotor. So like a motorcycle generally has just a little single, like non-vented, cross drilled, like just light as possible rotor on the back. Those things have like a car rotor on the back of them, like vented, like 3/4 of an inch or an inch wide, like big, nasty rotor on the back.
Big caliper too, or
the caliper I think was like a decent,
big enough.
More in line with like what you would generally see on the front of a bike versus the rear. But
okay. Huh. It's cool that they're glowing. That's pretty crazy. I mean,
I don't know what was that was the only bike I saw it on, so something was askew. But.
Yeah. Kudos to him for hammering it down anyway, though.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I was gonna say, I was really impressed with your photos. For some reason, like just the way you captured the action shots, it seemed. I don't know if it was just because you were closer, or like maybe bikes are just make better pictures. I was really impressed with your photos from this session.
So a lot of it too is the fact that this event ran from like they got on track at 4:00 in the afternoon and ran until which it was supposed to be done by 10, and I didn't get out of there until 11:15 with all the different track prep they were doing. But
oh wow!
So being able to shoot through the evening hours like that is just so cool. That the light's just so good, and then
even the shots in the middle of the afternoon. I mean, there's a picture of the guy on one of the 450s, and he's clearly going to a turn. He's got his foot down, and it's like he's perfectly in focus.
Yeah.
And the bike, you can kind of like you start to kind of lose that focus, and then it's like everything's a blur behind him. It's like just perfectly captured.
They nailed it.
Yeah, it's a really well done shot, man.
Was that harder or different than doing cars?
So it took me. So they hit the track at 4:00, and it's just a full, like basically hour of practice sessions, and it's 5 laps of practice for each class, and they come out and it's like bikes going by, and I'm like, whoa! And I didn't get my earplugs put in because I wasn't really expecting it to be that loud, and it turned out it was that loud, and so I'm like, shoot these guys. Okay. They're going off the track. Let me grab my earplugs. Oh crap! There's more of them coming. Ooh, bikes! Like
overload.
It was an hour solid of just like guys come on, guys go off, guys go off, guys come on. Like whoa, like, and then it slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, it was. So thinking about it, like we were at Coda. It's a 3.5 mile track with 20 turns, and then here it's a half-mile track with 4 turns. It was just such a different mindset of just, panning these guys through the same corner over and over again. And, there's only like 6 places you can be on the track to be able to shoot from. So
right.
it was a much more just condensed, like just a whole different mindset from roaming around Coda for 2 full days.
Yes,
it was a cool, just different experience.
I mean, there's still objects in motion, so it's still kind of
it's the same idea.
Yeah, all the same. The
techniques.
The mode I'm shooting in and all that stuff that all carries over, but
right.
Just a different, and trying to figure out where the bikes look the most dynamic in the lap. So the guys are on the straightaways, they're just tucked in and going straight, but whenever they're doing that initial braking at the end of the straightaway, the bike's kicking out to the side and they're getting their low.
Uh-oh.
We were
doing so good until you're in. I'll say we were doing so good and your internet cut out. So,
oh no,
you're back. It's good. We don't jinx it. But yeah, you were just saying that the way they were cut out and the action shots were easier, or not easier to capture, but like made for better shots.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So and it's the same thing as shooting cars, just finding a place where they look the most dynamic, but.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Like, got anything else besides me just complimenting on how great your photos are? I can do this all night. Like,
making it weird, Robbie.
These are fucking great photos. I don't know what to tell you.
I know, but we don't talk to our friends like that, Robbie.
I do.
You got to tell me what. You got to tell me what you really think later.
Yeah, but like on the podcast. No, but seriously, look at that picture.
I'm with you, Robbie.
Fucking perfect.
I mean, I don't even know what we all know that I don't know what I'm fucking looking at.
Yeah.
And then I don't get this golden hour thing, but that's
real.
I can see the lighting and the dust coming off the back tires.
This isn't a golden
shadows and that's a cool picture.
But it's not a golden hour picture. It's just really good.
All these pictures are on our Facebook page, by the way. So if you're wondering where you can see these, they are on the Facebook page. I'm sure we'll be posting some of them to our Instagram. Dusty already has posted, uneffectively posted some to his Instagram.
So go to our Facebook page on Facebook. It's already probably been gatekept to the point where you can't see them.
Yeah.
It's not on your feed. Just look it up and just go to 1010's Podcast on Facebook and find these photos because they're fucking amazing. I can't say it enough. How has the reach been for your Instagram, though?
So apparently, whenever you cultivate a following of second-gen Camaro owners and 350Z owners, whenever you start posting motorcycle stuff, no one understands.
I'm not even going to like it. Just scroll right on by.
It is done less than nothing on my Instagram, which
you could have negative likes. That's what he'd have.
I didn't realize that Instagram had dislikes.
Yeah. But
he's probably lost followers.
At the end of the day, I do the Instagram for me and not for the followers. So, it's whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, I remember when I did the Supermoto stuff, and I was really proud of those pictures. I mean, they were nowhere near this, but I was really happy with how some of them turned out. And again, I posted them, and the people that were in them, and some of the people that were friends with them liked it. But I mean, no one cared, but I cared.
That's fine.
I was really
sometimes
happy. I was really happy.
Sometimes you got to do it for you and not the fans, because you know why, Robbie? Fuck the fans. I'm just saying.
Hey, he said it.
He did say it. Yep. No, you got to do it for you. And
sometimes you just got to do it for you.
Yeah. So that I've now done 100% more shoots than what I did last year, and I got a new camera and new lenses, and I'm completely invigorated on it. So
next stop, Lime Rock.
Yeah.
Did you get your tickets yet?
Or WRL Road America. Your favorite track.
Ooh.
Man.
I don't know.
We're going to use that PTO.
When is
Factor Fab could use a professional photographer for our headshots as well as our action shots.
Headshots? Oh, damn, Robbie.
What month is the Road America event?
May.
It's middle of summer, right?
Beginning of May. That is not middle of summer.
That's barely started summer.
Well, yeah, it's still going to be 47 degrees.
It'll be cold.
At Road America, you'll be happy if it stays above 50 all night.
I told Jess that it's going to be 60s all day, the whole time, 24/7, 60 degrees, and she was not buying that for a second. She was really pumped when I told her, you want to come to Road America with us? Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It'll definitely never get more than 60.
She thought it was in
June.
No, she thought Road America was in somewhere south, like Georgia.
She was confusing it with Road Atlanta.
I think she was, and then she's like, "Where is that again?" Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, in May. It's
Dude, we were there in October. It was great.
So
it was shockingly good this year.
Yeah, besides the fog.
Last year.
Yeah, besides the fog.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, the first time we ran there was October, and everybody that we talked to afterwards were like, "Oh, it was raining. You're lucky it wasn't snowing."
Yep.
Yeah,
Still better than our experience at Gingerman in October.
This is the worst track weekend ever. So
I got trench foot. Thanks a lot, Jabay.
you probably got that from the Gingerman shower, though. That had nothing to do with it being October.
That's a fair statement. That is a fair statement. Either way, it was Gingerman in October. That's where I got trench foot.
Wait, were you hanging out with Dalton?
No,
that was pre-Dalton.
That was before Dalton.
Okay.
Those were the glory days.
Yeah, it was a lot quieter, nicer.
Nobody peed on our trailers.
I wore my tent.
That was tenting days.
That was 240SX HPDE days.
Yeah, that was tenting days, which I was never a huge fan of.
Nope.
Yeah, so that's my question about Lime Rock is what my sleeping arrangement will
You can sleep in the trailer with
work
Dalton.
out to be.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Dalton will not have a car there.
Not with that attitude.
I don't think there's any tickets left.
Oh yeah. Well, some of they'll back out of it. No, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think we can afford to tow to Lime Rock. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's
Dusty,
future.
we'll
That's
figure it
future
out.
problems.
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I showed up to a rally in Portland for work like 5 years ago with basically slept in the rental car because the hotel that I booked was like an hour and a half away from where the rally was.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
Whoops.
Yeah, forget that.
So,
I've lived that life before.
should we hot take it?
Yeah.
Robbie's like ready to upset people.
I'll upset people. All right.
I'm so excited. This is my first hot take.
As always, our hot takes, as well as everything that we do, is presented by Apex Pro. ApexTrackCoach.com. If you want to get a data logging unit like this sweet Gen 2 I have right here, use the code 1010ths. You get 10% off when you get this and the window mount. This is the best value in all of data logging. You will not get a better data system for a price anywhere close to this. And then the support system that Andrew Rains and the rest of the Apex Pro team gives is second to none. So, like, if you know, Andrew offers coaching as well on their website, so you could go through data reviews with him. Their intro to, or the beginners data group on Facebook posts videos and stuff all the time, walking you through data so like you can cheat yourself, so you can understand what you're getting. And then also the app, which is the official motorsports app of 1010's podcast, the Apex Pro app, which is available on Android and Apple. Apple is the more advanced one that has all the extra bells and whistles. So if you download that, it's a free app, and it actually works by itself. It's a standalone unit, so you don't even have to have the unit, the Apex Pro unit. You could use your phone. It won't be as accurate, but it will give you an idea of what is capable of on that app, and you can use it as a lap timer and get in real basic data to kind of start understanding like where you're losing time, where you could be faster, and really start to develop yourself as a driver. So I think this is the year that everyone should start to really focus on, hey, maybe I should, instead of spending $1,000 on whatever bullshit car thing that I'm going to make me faster, why don't you focus on yourself and make yourself a better driver, and you could get those same amount of gains on the track for actually less money, and it would stick because it's not relying on the car. ApexShotCoach.com. How's that?
I have a fun Andrew Rains story.
I love Andrew Rains stories.
It'll take about 30 seconds.
You have an Andrew Rains story?
Yeah, so he came down to Crescent during an Apex HPDE event and offered coaching sessions along with like as an add-on for the event. So I took him up on that offer because I wanted to get some Andrew Rains insight on my driving. And of course, it rained the entire day, so we got to learn a lot about the rain line and driving in the wet, which I absolutely don't like to do. But so the car that
I get it.
The car that he was there to drive ended up having an issue, so he was just kind of hanging out, and I offered to let him drive the Z. I did not warn him ahead of time that the rear tires were beyond bald.
Z things.
So he got out of the car whenever he came back, and he was like, He like steps out of the car. He does not say a word. He just walks to the back of it and he leans down on the tire and like kind of rubs his thumb across it. And he's like, yeah, it's about how much it felt like there was left on the hose.
Whoops.
I said, I'm sorry, Andrew.
He's like the track dad that you don't want to disappoint.
That's fair.
That's how I feel about him.
That's fair.
But he was super cool about it. So yeah, I felt like the biggest jerk in the world because I did not realize how bad they were until after he'd already like gone out, and I think he looped it once and then like basically just had a drift session after that. But,
Nice.
Z things.
But all that to say, Andrew's super cool and he's super helpful.
You just default to Drifty Boy.
Yeah.
When you get in a Z, that seems fair.
But when all else goes wrong, you just start drifting.
Fucking drifters.
But yeah, and Andrew's like a super great guy, which is why even if we weren't officially partnered with Apex Pro, I would still be selling people on Apex Pros.
What do you got for us, Robbie?
Oh man,
this is not going to be as arguing as
no, we're not going to. I don't think we're going to argue on it, but it's worth bringing up. So, Grid Life was at AMP, a track known for its very quiet sound limit, which I think is
192 dB.
No,
it's not.
It's like 92.
It's 92, yeah.
I thought it was 102.
No, I think they do like 2.
That's why I was confused why everybody was so mad about it.
I think they do 2 or 3 events a year where they can go to, I think it's like 99. But other than that, it's 92.
Okay.
So my hot...
What is it? NCM it's higher than that. Right?
NCM's is higher.
Yeah.
Lime Rock Park is too. Just
a warning to anyone.
Just throw that out there.
But my hot take is that I really have no problem whatsoever with a sound limit at a racetrack. I don't.
I'm with you.
I have no complaints. If I'm going to NCM, I'll make sure I'm under 100 and whatever it is.
I, as a spectator, enjoy my time at the racetrack more if cars are not obnoxiously loud.
Yes, so like anything under 100, I'm totally cool with. I don't have a problem with that being the level of loudness that your race car is.
Yeah,
I think that when you're hitting 109 with your GT350R.
Or GT500.
Or GT500. Or whatever your loud-ass Mustang is.
whatever kind of Mustang you're driving? Is that what we're getting at here?
That's where I'm going.
It's interesting that you'd pick that car specifically, Robbie.
Oh, you mean the one that got us kicked out of AMP? Yeah, that one. No, I am totally fine with a sound limit because I think at 109 decibels... it's so unnecessarily loud. There's nothing to be gained by being that loud.
No.
So I'm fine with that. I mean, I don't think it needs to be
like
80.
I understand that you need a car that's loud enough to be heard over traffic. Other people, but if everybody wasn't 109 dB, you wouldn't need to be as loud to be heard over traffic.
No, like when we had the C8, you know, it's bone stock C8.
Yeah.
He didn't have like a sport exhaust, so it wasn't like it was super loud. That one I would if it, like, let's just say I was using it as a dedicated track only car,
right?
I probably would want a little bit more of a sport exhaust on it with a little bit more noise, just a little, because it was fairly quiet,
right? But
I wouldn't want to be a straight piped C8. It doesn't need to be that loud.
So it has the valves on it that open, right? Like the baffles.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would get a little louder, but it was nothing. There's nothing loud about a C8. Yeah. It's not a Murcielago.
Everything's so far behind you in that setup too. So.
Yeah. No, it was different on track than anything I'd experienced. Just because, it's a totally different car, obviously, but there wasn't a lot of noise. Oh, and then for a reference, I have this decibel scale.
That's what I was just pulling up to see where 109 falls, and it's like
109
hearing loss from repeated exposure.
Yep. So I have this scale, and it's from Alamy, which is really weird. So it goes 60 decibels is moderate to quiet, so that's not even us talking. A car is loud, which is 70 decibels. A truck is very loud, which is 80 decibels. So the thing about a decibel scale is it goes up exponentially.
It's logarithmic. So
Or
basically,
logarithmic.
every 3 dB is essentially twice as loud to the human hearing.
Yes. So that's where it gets kind of strange for me. So a truck is 80 decibels, but a hairdryer is 90.
I think that's proximity.
It has to be. So like if I have them next to my ear hole.
Right.
And then there's a helicopter at 100 decibels, which everyone knows helicopters are loud.
Obnoxious.
And then that's where it gets kind of strange for me. Extremely loud is 110 decibels, which is where it turns into red.
Right, but they have a trombone.
Trombone.
That's I don't think that they picked good examples of the volume for these things.
A trombone is the equivalent of the mod motor Mustang.
Yeah, apparently.
And then the police siren is 120, and I refuse to believe that a police siren is louder than the GT500 Mustang. It's not.
No, probably not.
There's no way. If there was a police siren at AMP while the GT500 went down the main straight, I would not hear the police siren.
That's a little difficult, not to get on my high horse here, because
Get on that horse.
I agree that car was obnoxiously loud. I've heard that car at Grid Life events. It's loud.
Yes.
I'm with you. I support maybe not quite as loud of cars, but so higher frequency sounds, even if they have the same like amplitude dB, might not be registered to you as loud. Also, they don't carry as far. Lower frequencies carry much farther,
Like a big V8.
and so it maybe isn't so much that they're not the same volume as the tone is what makes it feel different to you.
Wow. Look at us learning stuff.
I spent a lot of time learning this stuff when I was younger.
Car audio stuff.
Yeah.
What was the max your car audio did?
My stuff did like 145s or something like that.
At the threshold of pain?
That's
literally what it says.
It lists
threshold of pain.
Robbie's little thing here stops at 140, which is kind of
the jet engine's 130 for the record, and then fireworks.
Where it stops. Come on,
fireworks
doesn't
is
even get
140.
fun until you've broke 150. Frankly,
your ears bleed at 150.
My goal was always 160 dB on music. That was my goal.
That's absurd.
It was absurd, Robbie. It was so absurd.
So
how is that even possible?
I owned all of the speakers and amps that I had were quite capable of that in the right setup. I never had the right charging system to really turn the screws on the amps, and I never I needed some box work probably, but that was always my goal. That was always my lofty goal. Like a 150 was my much more achievable goal, but a 160 was like my lofty, this is my like pie in the sky winning the WRL endurance season goal.
That's unreal. That's unreal loud.
Is that something where you're having to like fill the doors up with stuff to keep sound in?
Yes. Yeah. I know a lot of stuff like that to my Cavalier.
So I remember talking to a guy with a competition van at one point that he said it weighed like 6,500 pounds because the doors were filled with concrete.
Yep. So so that stuff when I was in stereo, when I was hard and heavy into stereo, there was a World Finals event in Omaha that we went to in college, and the extreme class cars, if you will, the unlimited, the Time Attack Unlimited equivalent of the stereo stuff, like those cars had no interiors. They were like the whole thing was built out of concrete and 6-inch plexiglass, and like the doors would bolt shut like every 2 or 3 inches. There's a 1/2-inch bolt that they would impact these things shut. What? And like outside it was just like zzz, and that was all the louder it was. Like literally. Like you could have a conversation standing next to this car, but inside it'd play 180 dB.
That's unreal.
Like it would kill you. You couldn't be in it, obviously.
No.
Like they had a podium that they would stand there, and like when I was there, when I went in probably 2007, Pioneer had a truck there that at the time was the loudest thing in the world. and it did like a 182 while we were there.
Oh my God.
And it had, so you could, the amps that Pioneer was selling at the time, you could do what's called strapping. So you could run 2 amps to 1 voice coil on a sub. And so they were strapping amps together and then running a pair of strapped amps per voice coil. And there were, I think, 12 12s in there. And so there were 4 amps per 12 in that truck. And he would play it for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then all the speakers needed replaced. They were toast. And it wasn't so much that they couldn't handle the power; it's that the pressures that it was making and stuff like that inside of the cabin of that truck would just
blow them all out.
Would blow the paper cones out. Just done.
Holy cows!
And then it'd take him like 30 minutes to close this truck up so he could roll it into the staging lanes, and like they'd literally push this thing around. Like it can't be driven. It was the coolest. It was the coolest thing. It was and that was it. Like a 60 hertz, like
weird.
And that was it.
It's the RP 968 of stereo competition.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would be like, remember when Porsche took the 919 hybrid and like turned it up to 11 and went out and just did really dumb time? That's what that was.
Yes.
It was so dumb. It was an F like 250 truck.
Yep.
And dude, it was the greatest. I have pictures of it on my Facebook of it had a big topper shell on it.
Right.
And you'd look in the back, you'd have the topper glass open. You'd look in the back and it would just be it was just a tunnel of amplifiers all the way to the front of the bed in like a racking system. And then underneath that, it was just all batteries.
Holy cows.
So
that's crazy.
It was the coolest thing in the world. And I know that when I left, I think that the world record, and like in 2009, 2010, the world record was set by a guy in the extreme class with like a 118, because it wasn't so much about cone area as it was about playing with the pressure and putting it where you wanted inside of the car.
Yep.
Because the meter was
in a specific
spot. And so like it wasn't so much about like being really loud and like moving a ton of air as it was like being able to take the pressure you were making and put it where you needed it. And like it was, I mean, this was some math level shit that you've never even dreamed of.
Oh yeah.
And like the guy did it with like 118 and like a semi reasonable amount of power, like 20K or something like that, which, okay, yeah, it sounds really stupid.
Yeah, reasonable.
But like I owned 2 7,000 watt amps that both benched well north, almost 8K. That I had every intention. So, like, I had a lot of power,
Yep.
And I never ran those at full tilt in my car because I didn't have the charging system. But, like, they were capable of being real dumb. They were 36 inches long. They were fucking huge. They don't have fusing on them because you can't put fusing on it. You just don't. They had two like, double aught power and ground runs, and you're just supposed to fuse the power wire. And they didn't put internal amp fusing on it. But this guy with that Volvo did, I think he was like a 185, a 186, something like that. They were pushing the point where, like, without pressurizing the cabin ahead of time, they couldn't physically be any louder within the atmospheric pressure that we create.
Wow.
That's what I was just trying to find what the current like record is, and there's a story about how 194 is the loudest you can possibly make at atmospheric pressure because of how sound moves in here.
So things like the Mount Vesuvius volcano eruption and like NASA space shuttles, those can, because they're such huge scales of magnitude, those can create situations where they can be louder than what should be capable within our atmosphere. Because they're such huge scale things.
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. This is sound engineer shit that
I'm not a sound engineer.
I'm drawing on like 15-year-old knowledge here too.
I'm enjoying this actually.
But yeah, it was wild. Like the level, I mean, like any car competition is, the level of engineering that went into some of this stuff was just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's just a math problem.
Yeah. Yeah, so the thing that I always wanted to compete in was called Bass Race, and you would pull up. You'd have 2 cars in the staging lanes, and you'd pull up into the lanes, and then there'd be a Christmas tree, like a drag race, and it'd count down, bing, 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 and the light would turn green, and then you had to average a certain decibel number over 30 seconds on music.
Okay.
And so you couldn't just like play a single tone that's like your peak note, right? So you had to find music that would play the tones you're like around the areas you needed, and like not have a bunch of pauses, because that's 0 dB over that time, so you'd lose a bunch on your average.
Okay.
And then they split it up. They started at 129.9 and went up by 10 dB up to 159.9, and then that was just plus,
okay.
like 160 plus. And so the class that I always wanted to, because it seemed like the most air quotes reasonable thing while still being really loud, kind of like the track mod of the stereo competition, was 149.9 was what I wanted to compete in. So then like basically you needed to be able to like burp a mid 150.
Okay.
To be able to compete in 149.9.
Right.
That was always
so
Bass Race was the thing I wanted to do. I just thought it was so cool because you actually get to line up, and like playing tones was never interesting to me. I always wanted music.
That makes sense.
Like there's a lot of those really hardcore stereo competition cars. They play one note really well. They play it for 5 seconds, and then the speaker needs reconed because it's toast.
Right.
Because you're way outside of its thermal limits, and you blew the voice coil up because you're trying to put 12,000 watts to a single 12 or whatever this they were doing.
Yep.
So I always wanted Bass Race because you had to not only did you have to like be able to play it musically, but you had to like be able to make your shit survive.
Yes.
And so that was always way more interesting to me.
I can see
So whenever you had that setup, did you listen to it like cranked that much, or
no, not really. So
he'd show off at like car meets and stuff.
Yeah, I'd show up at like events, or like if I was, but most of the time I was like at 3/4 volume. I didn't play it like cranked out. Like honestly, it was pain. Like if you would stare at a thing while my stereo was fully, and I wouldn't even consider what I had to be that loud, but when it was like fully cranked up and you'd stare at a point on the horizon, like it would get blurry.
Yeah,
that's loud enough.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Yeah, I had a buddy in high school that we built a box for two of those obnoxious 12s that the magnet is bigger than the speaker itself, and a Class D amp.
I had those,
and it was an Isuzu Rodeo, and it would open the back window.
Oh,
like it would unlatch the back window, and like it wasn't anything, like we didn't have any idea what we were doing, and it wasn't anything that was anything crazy, and it was so far beyond what any human should ever be able to endure for an entire song. And it just baffles me, the wall behind the back seat and all that kind of stuff. It's so crazy.
So I had 215s for most of the time in my Cavalier. And each one of them weighed 85 pounds apiece. They were real obnoxious. I still own one of them.
That's right.
It's blown up. It needs a recone. You can't go any smaller than a 12, and the magnets still fit through the cutout. But I have seen people make 8s out of them. But it's really hard to do because that has a 4-inch voice coil, which is really big, which is why it'll hold so much power. Because that thing, like, on a daily, like, musical setup, as long as it's clean power, can easily take 4,000 or 5,000 watts. Like, no problem.
Huh.
Like, no problem. And I've seen competition setups run way, like, 20 to 24K through that thing.
Okay.
Like a big power.
Yeah.
Serious power. So there was a guy in Mason City who ran what class was called like Super Street 1-2 no wall. So the box had to be below the window line.
Yep.
And then it was 1 or 2 subs of any size. And he held the world record for a while in that class with I think a Dodge Caravan that had 2 of the same subs that I had, except 18s. And then they were quad voice coiled instead of dual like most are. And he had 2 amps on each of the 4 voice coils. He had them strapped. They were 6,500 Ds, which made on a 17 volt or on a 16 volt charging system, which of course he had. They made about 6,500 watts. I had one of those for a while. And I saw him at one competition one time, and he played it on like 3/4 volume because it was like just some bullshit thing at like a Best Buy in Mason City.
Yep.
And he didn't want to like recon his subs for some bullshit thing, but like he played it at like what was a relatively low volume with the door open, which is not a thing you do in competition settings like with that car, and like cracked off a 159 like it was nothing. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, because I had, that was before I went to World Finals. I think that was the first stereo competition I'd ever gone to. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is amazing. I don't this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. And then I don't do any of that stuff anymore. But I own a bunch of it still because it's worth $0 now.
Yeah.
So I've tried to sell that stuff for like what I consider to be
fair market value,
dumb rock bottom, like below fair market value prices, and nobody will come pick it up from me.
Oh, shoot.
So a lot of it just sits.
That's too bad.
I sold a couple pieces to a collector. I remember
you sold some stuff.
So I still have some stuff that's pretty fucking special, but nobody seems to want it. So maybe someday I'll come through on my threat and build stereo equipment stuff instead of track cars again.
That'd be cool. That being said, loud track cars are not cool.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. There has to be a certain level of loudness.
I agree.
And then once so like if I had to go out, let's go off the silly scale that's in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm at 90. Like
90 is hard to achieve. That's really hard to achieve, especially at like 100 feet. 90 is real hard. I think 100 dB is reasonable. 100 to 102 seems fine to me.
Like because I don't think the Camaro was super loud. It wasn't quiet, but it's not super loud. It's 2.5 inch with Magnaflow mufflers on it, but so we got popped for sound at NCM. And that's the weird thing on sound levels at tracks is the weather affects it so much.
So much.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Like Sunday morning at NCM, you can be 97 or 98, you're getting popped there, and their limit's 103.
That's because the air is denser in the morning when it's cooler. You'll be louder.
Yeah, we got popped doing the speed stop there, and it was like our car. I'd never seen our car blow more than 99 or 100 anywhere, and they said 103.
That's weird.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure what's about to happen. I got a Zoom pop up saying I signed out because you're currently signed in on another device. So if this drops, I don't know what happened. I really don't.
Let's shut it down before we lose it.
Yep. But yeah, like
short show.
Yeah, we didn't do that at all. Yeah. The 240 I thought was like at the threshold of what I considered an acceptably loud car.
Yeah.
It was like, I would argue it's probably beyond what I would find acceptable.
Uh-huh.
And it never popped at NCM. I thought for sure it was.
Yeah, it was pretty tame overall.
So that's like the 240 was my limit of loudness that I found acceptable. But
word.
Anyways, Dusty, thank you for your time and your coverage of the other cool events.
And yep, so. Appreciate it. And yeah, had a fun time going out and playing Media Guy again.
Don't worry, we'll send you more of these things so that it's going to be hard for you to say no.
Yep,
we'll keep doing it.
I'm all about it.
All right,
so
we'll catch everybody next week.